All right, and welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, March 9th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Also, make sure you have those notifications turned on because in the short video I did earlier, you would have caught that there was something wrong here. So I sniffed this out earlier this morning. KRE down 8%. That is a massive move there. This thing does not move 8% in a month. So for that to happen, what happened, what was the back of that? SIVB Financial Group, down just easy, cool 60% here on the day. Looks like they took a $1.8 billion loss on their bond trades. They're trying to say everything's fine. This got halted today. One of the tip-offs this morning, we talked about the bear base in the video yesterday. If we can get over there, let's get to the intraday. Down move, and we had a nice, kind of bear flag set up on the hourly. And, we gapped up, and where did we go? Right into this trend line from the October lows, and that got rejected. So now we're just really, I'm not concerned as much with that trend line anymore. We're now basically just hovering right above, or actually right below that 200-day moving average now. And we have triggered a head and shoulders pattern here. We probably, I would say the market stalls out here. It's getting close to the end of the day. So we might see maybe a little bit of short covering into the close, but there's a nice head and shoulder there on the SPY. One of the things that tipped me off, though, and I mentioned this morning, is the IWM, Russell 2000 here. So take a look at the IWM in the corner of your screen. Kind of a micro gap up, and you look at the SPY and the Qs. They pumped the Qs pretty good in the morning. And you got to pay attention to that Russell. It'll tell you a lot. If you remember the video on Monday, what did I say? I said, look, the Russell got clobbered today. And an even better picture of it is on the futures. I really like that bearish inside bar, the pop, the fake out bull trap on Friday, and then a engulfing reversal the next day, Monday. While the spiders Monday were, basically, they were green. We had a little bit of an inverted kind of hammer candle, but they were green. And the triple Qs were, pretty bright green, even though they came in off the highs. So again, that Russell will tell you a lot here. Now, my guess is, and another thing I sniffed out this morning is tech up, Russell down, banks down. Really felt to me like, it looks at this point like, take a look at the volume coming in here, by the way. But it really looked to me like the market is about to, if I had to guess right now, SIVB, that bank collapse really kind of it makes it kind of hard to figure this out. But at face value, I would say tomorrow's non-farm payroll is going to come in ridiculously cold, and possibly the CPI as well. Why do I say that? Well, we're seeing the market behave like it's looking for disinflation. Remember, the Qs here are down in parity with the spiders, but earlier they were outperforming. Again, as usual, semiconductors are outperforming. AMD was up 2.25. NVIDIA was up, I think, 0.5% here. It's down 3.25 now. Engulfing reversal, working on that on the daily. AMD, 5% swing on the intraday. Semi's down 2% after getting to 250, which is the level I've been talking about. We hit the 248. I said 248 to 250. Okay, 249.56, close enough. But nice reversal. The point is, what else are we seeing? Bonds getting a bid here. Now, it's still kind of a weak look, on all things considered. If we had an outside candle, I would really feel strongly about this thesis. But what I'm saying is the market looks like it's trying to price in disinflation. So we could get a really, really cold print tomorrow. What that means is, you'd think, well, it's bullish, right? If the jobs numbers are cold. If it's too cold, that means the Fed has overdone it. So let's take a look at the yield curves here. And there's Bitcoin, by the way, coming in. So this, I think maybe some of this is Silvergate related too. As you see Bitcoin confirming the move down, that is a failed inside bar. We talked about that yesterday. So that has now failed on the daily. But let's take a look at the yield curve. So 2s and 10s, well, now they're only inverted by 97 basis points. So we're seeing the 10-year kind of come in a little bit relative to 2. However, 3-month and 10-year, still pretty inverted. So it's kind of a mixed bag. 10s and 30s and 5s and 30s have gotten a nice bid today. So I don't know if that's enough to really say that we're going to get a disinflation print tomorrow, or maybe even a deflation type print. But that's how the market felt like it was priced. It felt like the market was pricing that in, or at least trying to this morning. Either way, my antennas went up when I saw KRE down 8% in one day. Like I said, that's not supposed to happen. That really can't happen with while stocks hold up. It's just I know the semiconductors were strong earlier, and that's usually one of my big canaries that I like to go to. But when sometimes it just gets trumped by something that's that egregious. Take a look at XLF here, down 4%, slicing through the 200 moving average. We did take some profits here today on our SKF position, 2 times short financials. Also a little profits on Roku. We took that, so 14% on Roku and over 15% on SKF. But either way, remember the last couple of months, what have I been saying? XLF's underperforming. This is a problem. Seeing that happen here today, nice dump on volume, head and shoulders pattern triggered there on the daily. That should work its way down to about 33. That's where the target is, and you've got nice support right in this area around 32.25. It is coming off the lows. Tomorrow, we have the NFP number. If it wasn't, again, I can say this again, if it wasn't for SIVB, I would say, well, there's a chance that they could reverse this, but you've got daily chart lower highs. We've now made weekly lower lows. Again, so there's a weekly lower low. Working on an engulfing reversal this week, below the 50 and 20 moving average now on the weekly. And daily lower highs. Again, I said last week, look, we probably need one more lower high, if we're going to break this 200 moving average, and we've got that. So bears do have control right now. Could they come in with, a screw job candle tomorrow? It's possible, but what leads me to believe that it won't happen is that KRE, SIVB, look at this. It's still down 8%. It's coming off the lows. Look at the volume there. So that's, like seven times average volume there on KRE. So you see SI there, Silvergate, still getting pounded. Credit Suisse down as well. Some of these were, obviously troubled banks here. Look at that breakdown on JP Morgan. Beautiful rising wedge. And we put that out yesterday. So beautiful breakdown, down 5.5. Goldman here getting hit as well. Look at Wells. It's a pretty good sell-off on Wells. Let's look at the weekly. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks wiped out in one day, or in a couple of days here. You got to watch those financials, especially in a bear market. They tell you a lot. There's Citigroup there. Anyways, pretty good dump here. I do think we probably go down and test that original target we talked about, which is going to be around 387, 386. We might actually pierce it a little bit because originally I was talking about that right in this area. But now we've come up and we've made a lower high. This 200 moving average is now minor. As you can see, we're slicing through it pretty nicely right now. Volume's picking up here in the final half hour. I'll be doing this video after the close, but we are doing a live stream for members at 4:15, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So my box should be filled with questions here. But yeah, S&P, nice dump here today, down 1.62. Triple Qs here, engulfing reversal there. Again, couldn't get back above that 20 moving average. It's still holding up relatively better. And again, this is a little bit of a disinflation look, right? The Qs should hold up better than, small caps and banks, obviously, although banks today, that's just kind of an outlier. Just forget it. But yeah, nice move off the lows there. Filled the gap. It's trying to, get a little bit of bounce here. Again, probably some short covering going on into the close. I wouldn't doubt that. We filled the gap there. Again, we got to watch this weekly level here on the Qs. This came into play 2 weeks ago. So that is 289.89. It came into play last week as well. If you did a weekly close below that, this rally is over with, and we're going to go a lot lower. So that's a huge level to watch into tomorrow. IWM cut like a knife through these moving averages here, installing out at the 200. I think this has got to go test 181. We talked about that yesterday. If we lost this level, it would go down to 181. Barring a miracle, it's going to fail below this inside bar on the weekly. So that's a weekly failure. But yeah, again, pretty good dump there. You are into these pivots again. May need to, we'll probably test lower prices tomorrow. I'd be shocked if we don't, at least in the morning. And even if we bounce here, there's good support here, but even if we bounce, this is a pretty good impulsive breakdown here for the markets. There's the Dow, now lower low. So that is now below the December low on a daily closing basis. And, we're basically closing right on that 200 moving average. We'll watch. Maybe it wants to target this previous all-time high trend line there. That is sub 320. All right, over to some sectors here. SMH we mentioned earlier. That's getting a micro bounce here off the lows, down almost 2% though. It's trying to hang in there a little bit. Geez, NVIDIA, what can you say? Big rising wedge there on the daily. They're holding this up for now, but, when this breaks, it's got, you built no supports here outside of that earnings gap. There's not a lot of supports on here. You'll have some right around 190, pivot high, pivot here, but you built no supports on the way up. Same thing kind of with, AMD, not as nearly as extended, but pretty good reversal there for those semiconductors. But either way, it hit that 250 level. We're coming back in. We'll watch this trend line on the downside. It does kind of coincide with that 50 moving average. IGV, nice rejection off of that trend line. It's basically holding this pivot here. Again, the weekly level is 276.69. So that tomorrow will determine whether we have a failed weekly pattern or not. But, cloud, everything coming in today. We mentioned biotech yesterday. Pretty good dump there. And this has put in a big bear base on the monthly with that 20 MA starting to catch up to price now. So this has room to run to the downside. Not a good look here. All right, transports. DJT, nice reversal. Again, down 1.75, hitting the 50 MA. It still has a potential higher low setup here, so we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It's still hanging in there a little bit, but you do have those daily chart lower highs. If we go down here and test this pivot, it's not going to hold, though. You need to put in a higher low now if you're going to continue to rally up. But if this breaks that 50 MA, it's going to break that pivot. And then, we're probably going to go down to that 200 there. But transport's coming in just like everything else there. Take a look at the jets here. Big outside candle there, wiping out the last week of action. All right. We mentioned bonds, the 10-year. Believe it or not, again, with this reversal here, you still have the other trend is still very nicely intact. The 30-year is getting a little bit more of a safety bid here, but again, no damage here. You didn't wipe out that inside bar. So maybe the number's hot tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe the market was really offsides expecting disinflation today. That's certainly a possibility. I can't pretend to know what's going to happen here, but yeah, you do have a nice little reversal there in the 2-year, up 35 basis points there. So it did back off of that 5% level finally. Honestly, right now, it's anyone's guess what happens with NFP tomorrow. Remember, we do have CPI on Tuesday, I want to say, so we'll be on guard for that. And next week is Options X too. All right. Anyways, let's get over to housing. So XHB lower with everything else down 1.16. It's kind of just lower highs here. Again, same thing. I don't like the pattern on a lot of these home builders here. You guys already know that. VNQ there, another lower low. So that's still testing support. If this goes lower tomorrow, it's not going to have much till about 80 and change. But nice little daily chart downtrend there on VNQ. And again, that weekly pattern is not good. So we're about to reclaim that 20 moving average there on the downside. If that happens, then the trend is back down on the weekly, which it's already been down anyway, but it'll be much more powerful. All right, we talked about XLF already. 33, that's the target for this little head and shoulders. If it shoots through that, you only have support at 32 and change, so there's a gap there, a little pivot high. But yeah, nice slice there on XLF. Again, KRE down almost 8%, coming a little bit off the lows here. KBE into double bottom here. So down 7%, again, getting hit on volume. Take a look at the broker dealers. Big slice on broker dealers all the way down to this lower trend line. So again, that's a big weekly chart rising wedge. It almost got back to an all-time high, which is remarkable. And it's basically just sitting right on that 20-week moving average. We'll watch this here for pattern. If this goes sideways, this can go lower here and break that rising wedge. Maybe even does it tomorrow. We'll see. All right, over to energy. So again, kind of a mixed bag here. Energy was all over the map again, taking a look at crude. Little pop here in the morning and then kind of fading. I guess right now this is signaling more towards the disinflation side, but it's not like it's completely puking. At least not yet. But either way, crude just stuck in this range. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, you guys know the levels there. XLE down under just 1% here. So that's still holding up well. That's another kind of point for the inflation side, I suppose. So XLE hanging in there, XOP, same thing, but hitting this trend line one more time. I don't think this has enough gas to hold this trend line again. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4, 5, 6 times now. So XOP definitely, again with one, here's your high, lower high, slight higher high, but definitely a lower high. So XOP may be running out of gas here. OIH, nice reversal here. Watch this level, 308.31. That's a weekly level there. If that closes below that, that's a failed inside bar, and OIH will go lower, but we'll see tomorrow. Nat gas coming in here again. Nat gas just is it's kind of like the crazy uncle of the market here, just kind of doing what it wants. A little bit of a pullback there. It does want to probably get down to this gap, I'm thinking. But again, kind of one of those days where nat gas was kind of the non-event for once here. But either way, still in backing and filling mode. Dollar index actually red, believe it or not, and that is, I guess, a point for the disinflation side, right? So dollar down, bonds are getting a bid. That does make a little bit of sense here. It's going to close right on this trend line. Ultimately, though, up move, and we're just going sideways for a move higher. So I like the dollar just a little bit more backing and filling here, and this can advance. Next level is 107. Gold here getting a little bit of an inside bid. This has been all over the map. See the GLD here. We got a rally. We never took out the lows. And then it really started rallying with treasuries as expected, and we've kind of faded. So again, mixed bag here in the bond market and in precious metals. I still don't love the pattern on gold. I think this is setting up for a move lower. So we'll just be patient with that. Silver, same thing, down 25 basis points. If this goes sideways, which it looks like it wants to, this is setting up for a move lower, and we'll get a chance to buy this later. Platinum, bucking the trend, it is up, it is green. So inside of this red bar still, I still think this wants to have one more leg down. Nothing's changed there. Copper rolling over a little bit, was green earlier. I think this is also setting up a possible, kind of like a little bear wedge. So again, I'm not bullish on copper right now. And we'll be watching this. If this, tightens up, this could get down to that 375 target in the future. Anyways, over to Bitcoin here lastly. Again, nice dump here, down 20,500. I think since I've done this video, yeah, we've dumped a little bit more here. We've dumped about 200 points in the last 15 minutes. But yeah, that's a failed daily inside bar. Tomorrow, again, 21,368. We are below that right now, obviously. A weekly close below that takes Bitcoin back down to 17,000. So we got a lot of real estate here on the downside. Be careful with Bitcoin right now. I would not try to buy it right now, especially if we get that close below that weekly level. Okay, lastly, over to the spiders here. There's about 15 minutes left. And we're basically just holding here in the lower range of the day. Again, getting a little bit of bounce off the lows. It's common to get some short covering. We had a nice volume surge there at the end. We are going to finish likely with over 100 million shares. So again, another high volume reversal on the day. And we talked about this yesterday. Again, that bear base, we set up, we gapped it up, and they gapped it to crap it. So nice reversal there. Again, watch the IWM. Watch financials. They definitely tell you a lot about where the market wants to go. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. We'll see what we get tomorrow. You guys take care. Come find me at carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you all tomorrow.